In a quiet southern town where everyone knows everyone else, a man sat alone on a park bench, his clothes tattered, beard overgrown, and eyes heavy with the weight of 1,000 silent stories. People passed by him every day without a second glance, until one morning, a sheriff's deputy decided he didn't belong there. What started as a routine morning patrol turned into a moment the entire town, and the state, would never forget. This is the story of Harold King. And the day the governor walked in, Harold King wasn't always homeless. Once, he'd been a high school teacher, a decorated Vietnam veteran, a community leader. But life, as it so often does, had other plans. His wife passed from cancer. Medical bills wiped out his savings. A bad investment deal, made in desperation, cost him the last of his pension. And within 2 years, Harold went from homeowner to sleeping under a bridge. But Harold never begged. He never stole. He stayed clean, read books from the library, and even helped the local food bank on volunteer days, until his coat was stolen, and he couldn't handle the winter nights. He became a fixture on Maple Street Park. Just another forgotten face. That was until Deputy Travis Rourke came back from vacation. Deputy Rourke wasn't a new face in the town either. He was known for being aggressive, especially when it came to cleaning up the streets, as he called it. And if you were poor, black, or homeless, you were exactly the type he liked to clean. When he saw Harold sitting on the bench with a small notebook in hand, jotting down notes from a library book, Travis pulled his cruiser over fast. The interaction was caught on a nearby store security camera, and it quickly spread like wildfire online. Deputy Rourke, camera audio. Hey, you think you can just park your stinking self here like this is your front porch? Harold, calm. It's a public bench, officer. I'm not bothering anyone. Deputy Rourke, mocking tone. Not bothering anyone? You smell like a dumpster. Old man. You scare kids. Why don't you crawl back under the bridge you came from? What happened next stunned even those familiar with Rourke's behavior. He grabbed Harold by the collar, yanked him off the bench, and threw a small notebook into the street drain. Harold stumbled but didn't fight. He simply looked the deputy in the eye and said, "You'll regret this." That's when the governor's car pulled up. Unbeknownst to everyone, Governor Elaine Rutherford had come to town unannounced. She wasn't there for press. She wasn't there for politics. She was there to see Harold King. They had served on a board together years ago, before politics had swallowed her time. Elaine had heard rumors he had fallen on hard times, and guilt had eaten away at her. She owed him a visit, a debt of honor. As her black SUV pulled to the curb, she saw Rourke shoving a frail old man and heard the final insult. "Nobody's gonna miss you if you disappear, trash." That's when she stepped out of the vehicle. Deputy Rourke, still holding Harold by the sleeve, didn't recognize her at first. Governor Rutherford, firm, cold. "Deputy, let him go." He turned and scoffed. "Ma'am, this doesn't concern." He froze. His voice caught mid-sentence, because by then her aide had stepped out too, holding the seal of the governor's office on an embossed folder. Reporters who had followed her discreetly were now snapping photos. Elaine approached Harold, who had dropped to one knee from the rough handling. She reached out, helped him up, and hugged him. Elaine quietly, "Mr. King, I'm so sorry." Harold said nothing. He just nodded, brushing dust off his coat. Deputy Rourke turned red. "I didn't know who he was." Elaine, facing him. "That's the problem. You didn't care who he was." By sunset, the town was national news. Hashtags trended. Hashtag honor Harold. Hashtag justice for the homeless. Hashtag Deputy Rourke. The video footage hit 3 million views in 12 hours. By 9 a.m. the next morning, Rourke was suspended without pay, pending an investigation. Governor Rutherford held a press conference, standing beside Harold. She revealed his service records, Silver Star recipient, Purple Heart, and 2 letters of commendation for saving children from a burning bus in 1991. She announced a new state program, the King Act, dedicated to providing shelter and dignity to homeless veterans. And then she turned to Harold and said, "We failed you, but we will not fail others." The entire crowd stood. Harold hadn't spoken to the press. Not once. But 1 week later, at a community forum hosted by the governor's office, he asked for the microphone. He shuffled to the stage, hands still trembling, but voice steady. "Harold, I don't want that deputy punished for what he did to me. I want him educated. I want every officer who puts on that badge to be trained in dignity, not dominance." He paused. "Because I wasn't humiliated because I'm homeless. I was humiliated because he forgot I'm human." The room was silent. Then came applause. Long, emotional, heartfelt. And just like that, Harold wasn't forgotten anymore. 2 months after the incident, Rourke was officially dismissed. But instead of vanishing into obscurity, he requested to meet Harold again, this time with cameras off. Witnesses say Harold greeted him. They spoke for over an hour. Afterward, Rourke stood before the local police academy, now part of the new training program under the King Act. He spoke candidly. "That day changed me. I saw power as something to use, not something to understand. And I humiliated a man who had given more to this country than I ever have." He ended with, "I deserved worse, but I was given a second chance. So now I'm going to help train the next generation to do better than I did." With the help of the governor's office and donations from across the country, Harold was given permanent housing and a role on the advisory board for homeless veteran affairs. But he didn't stop there. He spent his days walking the same park, handing out socks, granola bars, and books to others still sleeping rough. When asked why he didn't just relax and enjoy his new life, he smiled. "Because someone else is sitting where I used to sit, and they need to know they're not invisible. What makes a man powerful isn't his badge. It's his ability to lift others, even when no one's watching." Harold King didn't need revenge. He gave the world something greater, a reason to do better, and the world responded. Because when power meets compassion, history changes. For more stories that reveal the power of justice, empathy, and unexpected heroes, subscribe to our Faceless YouTube channel today.